All right. Hi, everyone. We'll just wait for a few more minutes for more participants to connect.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are.
And I see the recording is in progress, so that those who couldn't attend right now will definitely get an on-demand recording so that they can catch up with all the updates that we're presenting today.
Yeah, we have a packed agenda today, and I'm excited about all the things we've done in the back end.
Yeah, gotta make sure to speak fast. As always, it's such an exercise to compress so many updates into just 45 minutes.
Yeah, and
We need to come up with our own branded lobby music for the next time while folks are
I'm excited because this is the first time I host this event, and historically, it has been in the hands of my dear colleague, Jesper Stahl, who is now on paternity leave. And Jesper, I'm not sure you're watching this, but we send you a lot of love. Yes, greetings to Norway.
And I think it's the first time that you and I are co-hosting, Cesar. So I'm very excited about that as well.
Yeah, excited about it too. Maybe we repeat this a couple of times again.
Yeah.
All right. Should we get started?
Sure.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the quarterly update on what's new in Forma. This is a summary of product updates and highlights that the Forma team has worked since July to November 2024. My name is Cesar Escalante. I'm Technical Marketing Manager for Autodesk. And with me is Daria. Let you introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Daria Golubiva calling in from Norway. I'm a content strategist on the Autodesk Forma team, and I focus a lot on helping you learn and get up to date with the Forma features as we release them. So I'm happy to be here. I previously co-hosted this webinar together with Jesper, and today I'm excited to co-host it together with Cesar.
Yeah. And again, my name is Cesar Escalante, and my role at Autodesk is to act as a spokesman of Autodesk innovation, focused on the architecture portfolio, and more recently, I've been heavily involved in supporting the Forma team as well. Excited to be here, guys. Couple of few things before we get started. If you're joining through your computer audio system, make sure that, and you have issues, make sure that you refresh your browser or switch browsers in order to have the best experience. If you have questions, please type them in the Q&A section. We will try to answer as diligent as we can, but we have also in the background several people from product helping us address your concerns and questions. And lastly, this webinar is being recorded, so you will receive a recording via email if you register. So feel free to share this recording with your colleagues or internally.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that if we don't get to answering your question during the webinar, don't worry. You can always reach us via our community forum, and our product teams are monitoring and answering those questions. And I must say that for some niche or more technical questions, that might be an even better place to ask those or share some feedback. So check out our forums after the webinar if we don't answer your question in real time.
All right, we've been working hard to improve the Forma experience for the past quarter. You will notice that we are providing faster and better modeling experiences, and new features for collaboration and working with teams, a lot of new enhancement in our analysis tools, and a variety of new exciting extensions developed by third-party developers.
Yeah, and in addition to this, we're also making tons of continuous improvements, small and large, to the existing tooling. And I just wanted to remind that since Forma is a web-based cloud product, you don't need to install or upgrade anything to get access to the latest version. So you just log in and you get access to the latest and greatest. And don't worry if you are not entirely up to date with the recent updates. We got you, and we'll walk you through the updates of the last 3 months.
All right, this quarter we work on 32 new features and updates, and 5 new exciting extensions. So with no further ado, let's just dig into it. On the first theme, modeling enhancements. Let's see what's new. Daria?
Right, so I'm very excited to start with introducing one of the many updates and improvements that were added to 3D Sketch. So up until recently, 3D Sketch was accessible as a sub-mode from our design toolbar, but now we've made sure to provide you with a more smooth design experience. And it's a ton of improvement to the performance, faster loading times, and just everything to make you more productive when working with this conceptual design tooling. And one of the updates that I think is the most valuable is the ability to add floor plans to 3D Sketch buildings. Would you like to add a little bit of flavor to that, Cesar?
Yeah, this upgrade improves your ability to represent your program and access more granular metrics, because you can now display what the different spatial requirements are going to be in a floor plan. You can access it you can apply it via floor templates and start understanding the relationship between the floor plan and the exterior skin. And this deeper integration of 3D Sketch means that you can launch projects faster with more consistent graphics and better tooling. And we're very proud about providing you a higher experience in modeling.
Yeah, I wanted to add that previously it was only possible to design floor plans in basic Forma buildings, and we got a lot of feedback that our customers were struggling a little bit with the data loss when converting basic buildings into 3D Sketch, but that's not a problem anymore because floor plans are now part of 3D Sketch buildings as well.
Absolutely. That also means that you can create this type of stack representations that are really appealing for communicating design vision with customers. These type of color stack diagrams representing the different programmatic areas of the building are not possible to visualize not only in 2D, but in 3D, help you understand the vertical and the horizontal relationship of the different space requirements. Take a look, play with it, yeah. Here is another one. Since you can now edit Rhino imports in 3D Sketch. Since we introduced the Rhino plugin, you've been able to use Rhino fluid modeling capabilities and import it into Forma. But the imported elements was a static mesh, and it was incompatible with the parametric capabilities that Forma offers. But we heard your request, and now we're excited to announce that, yeah, you can convert an imported Rhino element into a 3D Sketch, and you can take advantage of the full features of 3D Sketch, like adding floors, assign uses, apply floor plans, calculating area metrics. This is massive, in my opinion, because you can use Rhino as an authoring tool and continue your analysis and metric refinement in the Forma.
I think this is a very exciting update because I see it as a time saver that stands on the intersection of modeling improvements and improvements related to interoperability. And as you said, it will support the downstream operations, such as getting statistics in area metrics and taking advantage of the analysis, and combined with the previously presented updates, you can enrich Rhino buildings with floor plans, which I think is quite exciting.
There's a nuance requirement. I think the import needs to be a closed manifold geometry. to take full advantage of the features. If you like, for example, just bring a set of disconnected planes, I don't think the 3D Sketch is going to recognize it as a closed solid, and just make sure that when you do this, the Rhino model is properly set up. There's also a few additional modeling enhancements. You can resize the 3D Sketch solid primitives before placement. These allow you to adjust the size of the basic shapes in the initial state of the modeling, and you can adjust it later on. Another thing, you can delete individual 3D Sketch floors. Previously, it was a bit of a hassle because you need to adjust floor heights manually using push and pull operations, but now you can simply delete the floor. And third, we have made significant improvements in the snapping performance of when modeling, with 20-time increase in speed when you snap to certain elements, making the modeling experience faster and more responsive.
Kudos to our conceptual design team. And I think they labeled this as a tiny improvement, but I think it's quite a handy, even though a small productivity improvement. But when drawing with 3D Sketch tools, you can now switch between the tools on the fly. You can either use the toolbar or a shortcut so that you can create continuous sketches without losing momentum, because sometimes it can be just annoying. Where is that tool? So now just use a shortcut and have this continuous tooling experience.
Exactly, and expect more of these enhancements in the upcoming quarters as well. Let's check what's on the open for collaboration updates. Let's just dig into it. Sorry.
All right. Super exciting, something that was announced in Autodesk University. If some of you were lucky to attend it, I wasn't, so I had massive FOMO watching the keynotes and other presentations virtually from Norway. But it was announced that Forma is now integrated with Autodesk Docs, and our own whiteboard solution, Forma Board, is pioneering this integration. So until recently, it was possible to paste a link to a file from Autodesk Docs, but now you can also use the handy file browser to choose a file, and then it will be represented on your whiteboard as this very visual thumbnail that you can also open from the board.
That's right, Daria. And this is just the beginning of our strategy to create a seamless experience between Forma and the Autodesk Construction Cloud. Stay tuned for more exciting integration coming up.
And by the way, if you haven't checked out Forma Board yet, I think now is the time. As I mentioned, it's an interactive whiteboard where you can pull different context pieces. So for example, analysis or snapshots of your proposal, and now files from Autodesk Docs to put together this design story, or present to your stakeholders, or just highlight the key parts of your process that you think would be interesting to share with your stakeholders.
All right, as we prepare to transition from Forma the app to Forma the platform, we introduce a new top navigation bar designed to be more intuitive and more user-friendly, and help you to switch workspace between all the different Forma display modes, like board, site design, and analysis compare. I think this is the start of a much richer navigation experience as we expand Forma capabilities.
Right. So now this what we call the mode picker in the upper left corner will help you access different product areas much quicker, and we're preparing for a more scalable solution as we will connect to more tools out of Forma. And there are some more navigation changes that are lined up, but I just wanted to comment that we're trying to release it gradually so that you don't have to relearn workflows or get introduced to a button that was placed somewhere else suddenly. So we will be sending in-app updates to gradually introduce you to these changes, and you can get accustomed to them. This is the first step in a bunch of updates in the Forma navigation that will hopefully make it even easier to go between different parts of the product interface.
Such a good improvement.
Great.
Let's take the next one. We make it easier to collaborate and communicate with board, but now we can add comments directly on the board space. You just pick a point in the board environment and leave a detailed feedback, suggestions where that matter. The other thing is that you can also mention team members by using the @ symbol to mention a specific team member in the comments. These member will receive a notification and via email. These make the design process more efficient by tracking conversation and keeping a history of the conversation on a side panel.
Right, and as I mentioned, the board is all about storytelling, and it's about sharing your design process with others. So we hope that comments and mentions will enhance this collaborative offering. And in this sense, I would say that Forma board is becoming this flagship collaborative space within a Forma project. And now you can also invite someone to have a look at your board by tagging them in a comment.
This is reminiscent of the Microsoft review comments, where you can, tag a person and draw a colleague attention by sending them an email notification. We do this all the time, right, Daria?
Yes, indeed. And it's important to get some context about what's being discussed so that when you jump into it, you get all the details and you're prepared.
Yeah. All right. Project invitation messages, Daria.
Right. Speaking of context, that's tied in nicely to the previous point. We added a small improvement, but I think it can be very useful. So when you're inviting a new member to join your project, or if you would like them to look at the board within your Forma project, you can add a custom message that will be included in the invitation email. So for example, what is it exactly that you would like them to have a look at? And by that, you provide the context that will prepare them before logging in to Forma. And I must say that I really appreciated that as a user when someone on my team wanted to test a feature with me, and they sent me an invitation, and that included a note. Even though I had a look at that a couple of days later, that immediately brought back the conversation that we had. So I knew exactly what I was expected to check out in that project, and I found it very helpful.
Yeah, and who doesn't like to receive a personal touch in your invitations, right? I think it improves the collaboration, team spirit.
Yeah, I think it sounds a little bit more like a natural work conversation rather than that email coming from a brand.
Correct. All right, let's take a look at additional collaboration updates. This is a nice one, the ability to duplicate a project from the projects tab in your hubs page.
Maybe I could add a couple of words about that, because it was something that the product team I was on worked on. It was a common request because sometimes you might want to reuse parts of your project almost as a template, or sometimes you would like to share projects with different groups of people, and by duplicating that project, it allows you to quickly prepare for this particular use cases.
Nice. The other one, it's when you create a new board, it displays a starting template. It makes it easier for new users to get started on board features and set up the projects from the start on. And then the last one is that you can also choose different aspect ratio for your frames to let you customize your presentation layout for different device screens or control different print formats. We are listening to your request and adapting it to these Forma enhancements.
All right. Next section is just as exciting.
Exactly. Analysis and simulation. There's a bunch of improvements. Let's take a look.
Yeah, we're starting by announcing that our noise analysis has graduated out of beta. And I know that beta might be a little bit of a technical term, but if something graduated out of beta, it means that we have higher confidence that it's a better performance, and we've spent extra time and effort on validating the results as well as improving the performance. So noise analysis is there for you to help you make the right decisions by taking the noise conditions into consideration.
Yeah, and this is one of my favorite analysis. I think you can, as a designer, in early stage design, you can speak very confidently about some noise prediction in your design without the need of involving sound specialist or a traffic specialist.
Yeah, and by the way, just recently we added some instructions in the noise analysis. So if you haven't used it before, you can check out the steps, because in order to use the noise analysis, you will have to add the traffic data, but we try to communicate it as simple as possible so that you can just complete those steps and get going with this analysis. Back to you, Cesar.
Yeah. Rapid wind analysis. We have increased the prediction accuracy, which allows to increase also the target area of the analysis. So now you can, the target area is almost 23,000 feet diameter circle. This is particularly useful when we're trying to analyze large scale projects with the various different wind conditions.
Could I just take 30 seconds to briefly talk about rapid and detailed analysis in case someone is new to Forma?
Sure.
I'll do that. So in Forma, there is a bunch of analysis that we call rapid analysis. They update in real time while you're making design changes to your model. In this case, they allow you to get this directional input into how you might modify the model further. So it's something that is less precise, but immediately accessible in the right panel, and then it can inform your further design decisions. And for in-depth results, then you might want to use a detailed analysis.
That's correct. And this is different from the detailed analysis, right, Daria?
Yeah, correct. Commonly, the detailed analysis take a longer time to complete, and the calculation is based on a different model. But if you click those question marks in the right panel, then you can read up about specific technologies, and it's written by our product teams in a very comprehensive way.
All right, on the daylight potential analysis front, we have improved the daylight analysis tool to allow for more granular statistics. You can now click on a surface and display the daylight metrics impacting that particular surface. We can also introduce a detailed analysis statistic panel that helps you compare the qualitative results more easily. And also the ability to filter the results by different surface types, like floors, like roofs, facade, and other. And other is surfaces that are not either vertical or horizontal. And this is the type of feedback that you may need to be very specific about the type of facade system that you need to design or to optimize the window placement in your building.
Yeah, having the statistics in the right panel was a request we heard from many of our customers, and we made it happen because previously the daylight potential analysis results were a visualization on the model, but now you can get the specific numbers, and you can communicate analysis results to stakeholders even if they're not a Forma user.
Awesome. This is a minor, but I think is very impactful feature, the ability to export wind and microclimate analysis results as SVG or PDF format files. So what these allow you to do is to extract the analysis results, and then you can integrate it into downstream documentation workflows. For example, if you're using, I don't know, Adobe Photoshop or InDesign, you can move those analysis results and create your custom reports and presentations, ensuring that your analysis results are clearly communicated. And because they are in vector format, the quality of the images are very high.
Just to add to this video that you prepared for this, Cesar, the button is located in the toolbar in the lower right corner, and don't worry, it'll be downloaded as a zip file, but you'll find the exports that you need once you unarchive that.
Right, and you know that also if you bring a PDF, it also comes with the vectors embedded. All right, the embodied carbon, which was introduced earlier this year, now recognize connected buildings. It accurately calculates embodied carbon emissions for building representations that are multi-structure, ensuring that you have a more accurate simulation. This is particularly very useful for large developments where you have a mix of building programs and building construction systems that are interconnected. And this enhance also our offering for more accurate calculations on the sustainability side.
I'll give a little bit of the backstory, and I think this is interesting in the sense of making Forma understand the nuances of design intent, because the reason why we introduced this change is that many of Forma customers often designed or often they stacked separately drawn buildings on top of each other or drew them side by side, and previously the embodied carbon analysis interpreted them as separate buildings, but what the intention was is to show them that they're parts of one connected building, whether they shared a structure and or whether we were correctly calculating the external envelope area. So now this is taken into consideration, and the embodied carbon analysis has learned to understand these nuances.
Yeah, and credits as well to C-Scale, who is the partner that helped us develop this analysis as well. Another nice addition is the ability to run microclimates analysis on the roof. This helps us, for example, understand how rooftop gardens or solar panels on the roof impact the microclimate of your building. It shifts the analysis result off the ground to the horizontal surfaces on top of the building.
Yeah, I think it's a nice and handy sustainability update, and I hope to see more of those in Forma. Before we jump into integrations, we haven't included it in the slides, but I wanted to quickly comment on operational energy analysis. If you were using Forma for a longer time, you might have noticed that it was removed. And as I mentioned, we do put a lot of time and effort into validating the analysis results and making sure that the data that you get is accurate and reliable. But what we observed with the operational energy analysis that was based on a model developed way back is that it did not respond anymore to the changing needs and changing designs of buildings that we've observed among Forma customers. So in a way, the underlying model behind this analysis was trained on building geometries that were no longer representatives of the what we saw in Forma design today. So to make sure that we do not provide data that might be unreliable, we made a decision to remove this analysis, and we will focus our efforts going forward on building operational total carbon analysis that will provide more flexibility in terms of this geometry. So this is a continuous process in making sure that we validate the data and make sure it's accurate and reliable.
Yeah, I think for us, it's important to make sure that customers trust the analysis results, and then they provide, accurate predictions as much as possible. On the theme of integrations, I am so excited to present with the newest members in our marketplace. And let's see what's in here.
I think we're still starting in the Autodesk universe, and I believe this was also something that was announced around the same time as Autodesk University. And I'll make an introduction, and then the stage will be all yours, Cesar, to talk about what it means for our customers. But Dynamo is now available in the cloud, so Dynamo as a service, and it will provide a much easier and smoother authoring experience. And if you're creating Dynamo graphs, I think you will definitely appreciate this update.
Yeah, I think the major value proposition here is that you no longer you can share your scripts on a project base to all the users, and you're no longer connected to a manual path on the localized machine, which basically enable an entire team to access customization workflows. The new service is compatible with Dynamo Forma Beta Package 2.0 or Dynamo 2.18 and later, and it's available for Revit 2025 and forward. I think this package enhances our ability to use computational design workflows in our design studies. And the other thing that's super nice, Daria, is that the geometry generated in Dynamo is represented as native Forma elements, and is compatible with all the Forma features like 3D Sketch, where you can continue modifying and calibrating your design exploration. To sign up, you can do it directly from the Dynamo Player add-on. You have to join the Dynamo Forma closed beta, where you will receive an email with a link explaining how you can access it, and upload your script to the service and play with the different inputs. So check it out and let us know how you can get value out of this. I'm very excited about this addition.
It's fantastic to see it in action. This is not something that I would be able to experience as a user. There it gets too technical for a content strategist, but I love seeing what it means in practice, and I'm very excited to hear about the I'm pretty sure, very diverse use cases that this will unlock.
Definitely.
And by the way,
next one.
the messages in the chat, because our colleagues that are helping answer the questions are dropping some very useful links. So if you want to read up, among other things, more about the Dynamo as a service, just check out the links in the chat.
All right, ArchiStart has developed a new extension for exploring generative design solutions that are compatible with Forma. I'm not sure you heard about ArchiStart in the past, but it's also a web service designed for architects, urban planners, property developers, that allow you to generate, optimize 3D designs, supporting different type of developments, including low density housing, medium density apartment, commercial spaces, and keep a tab of all the programmatic requirements. And ArchiStart initially was seen as a competitive product for Forma, but one of the strategic directional one of the directions of our development is to allow for people to access and develop the third-party integrations using our open API. And this is an example of how we expand the market by providing very compelling value uses with very specific type of extensions.
Right. So if you think, oh, something is not possible with Forma, then stop for a second, and maybe there is already an extension addressing that particular need. And I think there are tons of possibilities of the different use cases it can address. For example, if there is a country-specific analysis that is particularly relevant, or if this is something a little bit of a niche design process, or well, the tons of possibilities out there. So click the extensions in the left sidebar, and then you will be able to browse currently available extensions and start testing them out in your Forma project.
I enjoy getting the surprise whenever a new product appears in the marketplace, and love seeing that expansion happening. This is another one, In2 AR extension. So this extension introduced augmented reality into Forma creative designs. You can publish your proposals as a location-based AR experience, accessible on-site using a QR code, and available also on iOS and Android devices. And these allow you to visualize a project created in Forma in real-world context. So imagine being able to stand in front of your project site and see the proposed building in the actual location through your phone or your tablet. So kudos for the In2 AR team for making this extension happen.
I would be very excited to try it out, and I think, as I mentioned, context matters, and seeing is believing, and here you get a scale of what it might become, something that currently looks like blocks and other geometries, but what it might look like in real life. And I thought of an interesting use case. Maybe you can get a screenshot and add it to Forma board as part of the design process.
This is another one, a very nice one, Arc Intelligence extension for terrain analysis. If you're not familiar, Arc Intelligence is the most famous integration for Revit. Is it's their landscape solution, and now they have developed a new tool that provides insights on how terrain conditions impact a project. The tool allows you to simplify the calculation of soil and volume for earthwork and represent the cut and fill requirements. It's, for example, if you are working in a very hilly side, I don't think we have a lot of out-of-the-box tools that modify terrain at the moment. But using this tool, you can actually understand what are the requirements to create a level building path and help you make informed decision early on about grading and excavation.
Hilly terrain, that's definitely something that would resonate with an audience here in Norway, just thinking about the plot of land my house is on. Yes, thank you.
And greetings to the Arc Intelligence team. They are lovely to work with. There's also additional enhancements. The Forma add-in for Revit, now it's in version 0.9.8. The latest version includes fixes like improved levels, matching usage when you apply converted masses, and better property boundary creation methods. And also a new version for the Rhino plugin, 0.7.6, which include better road and improved site and property boundary imports. And I think that these updates make it easier to integrate Rhino and Revit models into Forma. And I leave the best one for the end, Daria. So walk us.
Right. Right. We don't normally talk about things that are not yet live in the product, but this is just too exciting to not talk about it. And again, if some of you were lucky to attend Autodesk University, you might have heard about it, that Forma will soon be integrated with Esri, which means you will have access to even wider range of contextual data around the world.
Yeah, I think this integration will allow designers to access GIS data that inform design decisions. For example, you can bring zoning information that's available in your municipality and underlay it into Forma and ensuring that your projects comply with local regulation. That's just one of many examples of what we can designers can do with this integration, and in particular expand our ability to work with urban planners and urban planners and urban designers.
Right, and I wanted to add that it's one of probably I would say it's one of the Forma strengths, that it allows you to start designing from an informed position. And by that, I mean that you have contextual data that places your projects in actual context. And I think this will be particularly impactful in this regard. So stay tuned for more updates.
All right, so this get us to the end of the presentation. And now let's take a look at some of your questions. Happy to take some of them live or
Yeah, we have a couple of minutes left while you're cherry picking questions, Cesar. I just wanted to mention that don't worry if you feel like you missed an update. Every month we publish product update decks in our community knowledge center. This is something that is presented by the product teams who work on the specific features, and there is a monthly roundup. So check it out and also sign up for our next webinar so you can get a recap. Did you want to take any of the questions now,
yeah,
Cesar?
I'm looking at that. Let's see.
I can fill up
There,
there with one more little announcement. Check out the chat, but currently our Autodesk research community is looking for help from our customers to inform the direction and the design of Forma. So check out the link in the chat, and if you feel like you have some interesting input, share it with us.
there's one there's one here that how much from Marco Vukovic, how much is Forma aim for BIM coordination? I can try to answer that. I think Forma in the design cycle, it's has been designed to support early stage conceptual design. And as we making a stride of connecting the outputs of Forma with Autodesk Docs, we're starting to see the integration of Forma workflows with Revit workflows and with cloud and the Autodesk Construction Cloud. The integration of Docs with Board, for example, is an example, the first example of this integration, but you can expect in the near future to see more of this integration happening. And an example, imagine your ability to link Forma proposals into Revit to support a conceptual and detailed design, or to support a energy analysis. And moreover, imagine the ability to format projects to be included in model coordination processes. I mean, these are these are visions of the future that we may be working on in the background, and so expect more of these integration happening shortly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a great summary.
Let's see another one. Does In2 AR work with VR? I'm not an expert of In2, but I believe that the tool is only focused on AR representations. And so you need both the extension in Forma, and you need also the application in your device. And it will automatically geo-reference the projects and place it in the right location. I might be wrong with this, but I don't think it includes VR. This might be one for you, Daria. And it's about Esri data sets and accessibility of to what extent Esri data sets are available for, other regions like Africa, Asia, or Latin America.
Right. I might defer the question to our forums because I guess it gets a little bit more geo-specific. But at least for the data that is currently available in Forma, there is this interactive globe that you can spin, and by clicking on different locations on the planet, you can see which data sets are currently supported for your project location. So I'm not able to guarantee that this will be the same experience for Esri, but at least for what's currently available in the product, that might be a good starting point.
This might be another one for you. Can you export point data from sun analysis to Excel?
Huh. Putting me on the spot there. I will have to check it out. I think then if I'm not ready to answer in real time, I'll make sure to check that and answer that in our forum. Please make sure to repost your question. This might I may be able to respond. Does the new Revit plugin refresh changes made in Forma automatically to Revit and vice versa? The Revit Forma interoperability right now, it's a little asymmetrical in that you can start a project in Forma and move Forma proposal into a new Revit project. But you can only do this one time in the life of a project, and then you can make changes in the Revit project and send those changes back into Forma multiple times. So I think there are a lot of programmatic challenges to make this bidirectional equal, but the team is working hard to provide a better experience in the future. Let's see if I can pick another one. There's one from Francisco on exports. I think he suggests that, I think the question is if OBJ exports and sent to Revit origin should align. I think the send to Revit is an operation that transfer also the shared coordinates that align shared coordinates. So any changes that happen either in Forma or in Revit would come align
because they use the same coordinate system. On the OBJ exports, I'm not sure OBJs are or support the shared coordinate system. I think that is a current limitation. And Daria, do you know more
Not
about
off
it?
the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't think OBJ's exports embed information about the coordinate system. And so that may not work, but I think if you export this, if you use the Rhino plugin or the Revit plugin, the transfer of data should align with no problem. And there's a question from Jane, Jenny Repo. Is there anything in the pipeline about topography editing in the future? I don't know, Daria.
Not that I know of, but we should definitely check if there are extensions addressing that need.
Yeah, and Arc Intelligence, whose primary focus is developing land modeling tools, is an example of somebody addressing that need. And I would expect that they have shorter term plans to incorporate additional editing tools. But one of the avenues to edit terrain is to use the Revit plugin, which transfer the topo surface, transfer the topography into a topo solid, and then you can use the large range of topo solid editing tools in Revit to make edits to that geometry. And starting in Revit 2024, we introduced Revit topo solids, which make it easier to represent topography using layer structures and editing using various tools like excavations and Boolean operations and new surface material representations.
All right. I think we're over time, a couple of minutes.
All right.
Thanks for your great questions, everyone. If we didn't know something, then we'll definitely make sure to find someone who knows. So you can get in touch with our product teams through that in-app chat by clicking help inside Forma, or you can ask your question in the community forums.
Stay tuned for our next quarterly update next year, and happy holidays, everyone.
Thanks for attending, and see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.